Gottmik looks like the crow here.
That's because she is.
Hey everybody, you know what time it is. It's time to talk some Drag Race. This is X's for Show. Check us out on all the socials at X's for Show. As for me, I'm Nico Action. You can check me out at the link below.
Hi, I'm Jonah. You can find me places at Peak Jonah. That's P-E-A-K.
And I'm TK. You can find me at TK Elemental.
And that makes me Tori Sheehan. You can find me on the Instagrams at SM Tori. That's Tori with an I. And then Mr. Kevo.
I am your producer, Kevo Really. You can find me at Kevo Really on the socials. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe so that we know what you want us to cover in the future. But until then, we are covering some Drag Race today. We've got some Rusic. We've got some.
No, there is no Rusic here.
Rusic, yes. No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
There was no Rusic here. I was bait and
It's
switch.
the Rusic of fashion, friend.
Yes.
Okay, so like I said, but make it fashion. I completely get that it's but fashion. But like we have a Rusical next week, evidently, really in for it, really hear about it. But like, okay, so let's take a step back. This challenge was right off the heels of Angeria snipping Gottmik on math so bad that even George W. Bush would have said maybe that child left behind. George W. Bush. And so until we find ourselves up at the main compound, I can't figure out what was going. I think Angeria is top tier queen. She is breathtaking. But what just happened?
What I feel happened is that there's no real stakes to this series, and it's really difficult to come up with a person to cut for any particular reason. And when put on the spot, people don't really think about how to make a decision that is going to result in interesting TV, because this is just such a weird setup overall. And I mean, I think ultimately one thing that she never said is like, Gottmik, you're just too good. And like, I could see you, like you could win 2 challenges in a row. And I thought you just might be the fiercest competitor. But I like her explanation about using Plastique's math makes no sense. She really ought to have cut Plastique. She clearly, I don't think it's personal for any of them because it doesn't really seem like anybody cares. It just feels like, again, it's so low stakes. It so does not matter that people forget to make an interesting decision and just try and get the decision over with.
In defense of our mathematique, she really kind of wasn't wrong, because I still believe
Plastique was right. Plastique's idea was correct.
Yeah, but they kept calling it math, and I don't know what they were doing. It's Mario Party rules. Yeah, that's what it is. We're playing Mario Party, and Rue is the game master, and everybody has to go on the board and roll the dice and play the mini games, the mini challenges, and then yeah, they get awarded stars or whatever. It felt, again, I think I agree. The explanation doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and quite frankly, how they're describing it doesn't. But the actual, what they're talking about, the actual game theory, no, it's completely true. Angeria block, even though we are how many episodes in and nobody's block has mattered once at all, which is bizarre.
I just wanted to comment for a second. I think you, like, cause I'm not sure how you meant. I think you meant like game tactics, because like game theory often studies the way people behave and the outcome. So I think you could have also meant it exactly that way. You could have meant it like, bloop out like I did. Oh, hey, I'm back. I'm back through time and space. Hey, everybody.
Awesome.
So like game theorists love Jane Austen. They think she's super fascinating because of the way her characters all have very specific stakes. So like whether you meant it on one level or you were going for the double entendre, or maybe there's a triple entendre, who by the way, I heard triple entendre is going to be in season 17. I don't want to get everybody's hopes up, but
I heard triple entendre is going to be in Global
All Stars.
I also want to add, you don't need a valid reason to block anybody. If somebody drank orange juice that morning, that's a good enough reason to block them versus whatever you want. Who, even on elimination seasons, you want to block somebody, you want to put someone out for whatever reason you want to. I think at the end of the,
it's Jersey Turnpike rules.
But you better come prepared to perform when it comes to explaining it. And I just the reason that Naomi moment is always such a classic one is because she was just fully ready to answer the question. She was fully ready just to say, I did it because I did it, and life's not fair. And then it made for such good TV. Like literally, I mean, like it made an editor's job really easy because the cut was super simple. The dialogue was really simple. All of it was just ready to go. And this season doesn't set people up for success as far as that goes, but then the girls aren't leaning into it either. And that's why, like, Angeria really could have taken the moment to be like, I don't know, I just picked Gottmik. I had to pick somebody, I just picked Gottmik. And the person who really ought to have done it earlier is Roxxxy. Because I do get that when she had to make that choice, there were really no great options. There wasn't a super great strategic option just because of where everybody's numbers were. And Roxxxy, we have seen Roxxxy be cruel. So like for Roxxxy to just be sort of uncaring and just to say like, I just picked the person that I picked because I'm required to pick someone and I don't want to discuss this any further, would have been a next level moment. And the fact that nobody can do it is driving me a little insane every week watching these stupid explanations for why somebody got cut. That we don't have to do it anymore, though. This is the last one.
This was the last one.
Yeah.
See, I think that we could have gotten ourselves out of the math conversation if Angeria had really just said, like, Gottmik is very good at this. The other ones were all taken, like, and also she snipped me before, so this is revenge. Congrats. Done.
To make a really stupid comment, it's always about understanding where the joke lies. I made the example earlier that a couple of weeks ago that the whole point of a roast isn't to tell jokes, it's to make people laugh. You know what I mean? Like the objective is different than the methodology. And something that I see specifically with this gameplay and the devices that they're using here is that to an extent there is a value where the sort of gameplay pushes the I almost said characters because they kind of are performing like characters. It pushes them to a place where the behaviors that they're showcasing, I think sometimes make them seem more cunning than they are, because in a TV show, it's a motivated behavior. On a reality show, it kind of touches back to something that TK said a little bit earlier. It makes the editor's job really simple. And I think ending the cuts here allows them to transition to a new drama that maybe they can control a little better.
Well, they ended the cuts when they've done this before. They ended a few, like 1 or 2 episodes before the finales. And that's sort of where we are right now, is we have 1 episode, a Lollapalooza, and a double finale.
Mm-hmm.
Man, when you say it that way, it just winds up sounding like an extra value meal. It just winds up being like, I'll take the drink, I'll take the fries, and yeah, I'll take the 2 Twister wraps.
It's senioritis too. It's like, all right, we got the finals and then we're done. You got the spring musical, then finals, and then you're done. That's a little what it feels like already.
Yeah, and I think it's also because there is still quite a bit of discrepancy between how many badges people have. Like,
Tori, it is disgusting to ask women how many badges they have.
I know. Hey, but you know what? At least we have Plastique out here breaking those Asian stereotypes. So, anyway, I am concerned seeing how this episode ended up, that with Chanel not getting anything, we now are at the point where it's like, well, we have to make it 3 for this and maybe 5 for the Lollapalooza with a 3 and a 1 for second and third.
Sounds to me like she can't cross a badge off of her wish list. But I want
Christmas.
It's Christmas, sis. So, I want to ask you guys a question because I got into a really interesting debate with Jonah, who entertained the discussion a really long way, and I'm really grateful for it because something that this episode kind of made me think a lot about is how I feel that we all clock queens way too hard on their dancing when absolutely not a single one of us studied with Twyla. And I think a lot of girls are quick to be like, wow, your fashion skills are so incredible. But people maybe think it's more cool to pick on musical theater queens. I'm looking at you, Marcia and Jan, 2 Brady girls that I love with all my heart.
Oh, we're gonna need to pick up a Cindy soon.
Oh my god, that's
Ooh.
oh my god, she's gonna be my least favorite. Jesus. So gross. So man, I can't believe I'm a Thorgy fan now. So what I came to realize is that I think there are certain arts on this show that are praised and they deserve to be praised. Every art deserves to be praised. I'm not here to shit on anybody's joy in the least. I think it's so cool that fashion is put so high on a pedestal by these judges, but I actually think the technical singing is rated really low. I think as somebody who actually knows technical singing, and I'm not being rude, but like if you can learn to sew from YouTube, you can actually probably learn to technically sing. Pitch is a different thing, but you can technically learn to sing. And I say that because as somebody with arthritis and fibromyalgia, I think that people who say anybody can learn to sew if they watch a YouTube video are pretty ableist. And so like there's a give and take. And what I would love to ask you guys is in a bait and switch where I was told Rusical and got fashion and was grateful for the bait and switch. I would love to know because that's my 2. I think music tends to get maybe a little less respect and grace from these musicians than does comedy or fashion. Do you guys ever feel that there is a discrepancy in the quality of rating art? Nobody fucking cares about puppets. And does it affect the show for you at all? You know, Jonah, I'd love to pass it to you first because you entertained the conversation with me for so long this afternoon while I sorted my many, many faggy feelings.
You did. And I think I ultimately came to the conclusion of 2 things. The show is well within its rights to ask for certain skills. If they want people to be able to sew, well, actually, they don't want people to have certain skills because it makes it better and entertaining when they're not the best at it. I don't even want to say bad. But the actual point, the show's well within its rights to ask for certain skills. Is there maybe a conversation to be had about whether those skills are for everybody, if everybody has the same equal access to be able to do these things? And that's, I think, a much bigger conversation that we're trying to have right now, I think. The second point, I do think sometimes fans can get a little trigger happy to dismiss certain skills or talk about people, the queens, in a certain way that comes across like their puppets and their characters and like their characters on a TV show.
Well, you pointed out that parasocial connection.
Yes.
And it's a really tricky show because you don't watch something like Top Chef, or maybe you do, and something like Project Runaway, and you're like, oh, I would be best friends with that person.
I would go see Tori Amos with Mondo.
Like, you don't latch on to those people in the same way. You don't think to yourself, oh, I'm going to be their friend, but because these are queer entertainers, people that you very likely can go meet, that you can see, that you can directly support easily. It's easier to kind of conflate those feelings, like, oh, I actually might know them, and kind of just not realize, like, oh, these are people, maybe have a little more empathy. Also, like, we do tend to dog certain queens to certain archetypes for certain reasons. Most often, we do kind of joke that some of the musical theater queens can be annoying, and that's non-derogatory, and I say that as a very annoying person.
I just want to say I think that's a beautiful image of BoJack Horseman hugging Todd.
That's Parappa the Rappa.
I actually want to go back to Jonah's first point because I think part of the reason why the show itself considers certain talents to be higher than others, I think it's partially the fact that society as a whole thinks that music is something that is innate. It is something you are born with. Like art.
Thank you.
They consider design something that is, if you have an eye for design, it's innate. You're born with it. Whereas the technical skills of, I know how to carry a tune, I can strum and tap a little, and I can throw something through a machine. I mean, we hear all the time, oh, well, you can teach a girl to sew, but you can't give her taste. And I think the same can be said where they're like, we don't consider singing or musicality to be something that we expect everyone to be able to be good at with a certain amount of lessons. And then the other half of it is that I don't think RuPaul puts much interest in technical singing skill.
No, she doesn't, does she?
So why would she ask it of them? Why would she be out here being like, you sing so good, all the girls sing so good, but you sing the best. We're pushing you forward because eventually someone will say, you should do a duet with them. And then it all comes crumbling down.
Well, she is a recording artist.
And one of us is a singer.
Fashion is an interesting thing because it has an extra axis. You can absorb a lot about fashion just from magazines and everything. You can learn to create fashion, but you can also buy fashion. There are girls who cannot sew, but have an incredible eye for what looks good on them, and they can purchase it and show up to the show with that thing looking really good. And they're not going to get necessarily praise for having made the garment, but as we've seen even very early on the show, you can get by without that. You might get dogged a little bit when it's your time to put up and you can't do so, but if your ability to purchase is there, you can survive quite well on Drag Race. It is essentially impossible to purchase music in the same way. Yeah, you can get a song together and it can be acceptable for your...
I would actually
if you are like a
me and Tori ready to go.
If you're a Plastique
I think we have different points too.
If you're a Plastique Tiara, you cannot purchase. I mean, if you're RuPaul, you can't purchase a #1 song. You can't you can purchase the best looking outfit on Drag Race, and RuPaul might say this is one of the greatest things that has. This was a fantastic look.
That art is that is art. She is literally wearing art.
People have come on with stuff that they have just purchased, like the ocelot print that Aquaria wore, which Ru said was one of the greatest things she's ever seen. Aquaria did not make that. The Goblin Queen look that Violet had. Violet didn't create that. Somebody made that for her. These looks will go down in history. Basically, none of the songs will. Even the best ones, even the most beloved ones, they cannot be bought in a way that they will be remembered the way that the fashion can.
I need to hear. I need to hear Tori somewhat agree with me, but in a different way. Tori, please help me out with my echo chamber. Help me build the cave. Come on.
2 quick things. Generally, when we do music on this show, you have to write your own lyrics, and so you can buy a dictionary. Number 2. Number 2. We don't ask for drag queens to sing live here in this country. That's a UK problem, and so I don't think I think if you are someone who sings very well and have a predilection towards cross-dressing, you don't feel the need to be a drag queen because you're already out here dying for 8 times a week on the Broadway,
at the Panto.
Sammy Davis.
But we do have girls like, Jinx Courtney Act, Adore Delano who do it. And I do think people could write good verses. No verse has ever been even the best ones. Ru has never been like, we will remember that verse forever.
I want to say partially why, because like for me, when you said nobody could buy a good, nobody can buy a perfect song, I was gonna go ta because Celine Dion had nothing to do with the construction of It's All Coming Back to Me Now, written by Jim Steinman. And you can check out our coverage of the Celine Dion documentary on Sunday, where I'm going to be debuting several original constructions of Celine Dion songs ranging across her entire career, celebrating just what an incredible artist she is. I'm going to not do a joke. It would have been much too thin. So I would like to make sure that before this all gets too stiff, that I get back to the point. Oh God, I'm a disease. So the big thing about this point that I want to make is Celine Dion had nothing to do with It's All Coming Back to Me Now, but it's because no one's allowed to write their own music on here. Nobody's a Jim Steinman, but I bet you somebody in this group is a Jim Steinman. I bet Nina knows how to write a mean piano lick. And so like, I really appreciate everybody, humoring me this conversation, because it is sort of weird. Kevo, you haven't weighed in. And I can only assume it's because I am the gorilla that shares your bed. But I would love to know what you think of this sort of question, where I'm saying that I think maybe sometimes the scales of justice ain't so even across the talents.
I mean, it's not, and is a lot down to whose name is on the door. It's RuPaul's race. And, we have even questioned at times on this show and previous broadcast, Ru's own ability to live up to the standards of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Supermodel of the world.
It is a wider conversation. It is why our conversation frequently turns to, we want a diversity of Drag Race content where we can see something that expands Glam Slam, which we enjoyed and was fashion focused specifically. And so there can be a concentration in the needs that are focused around that level of talent. It is definitely a conversation worth having, and it is definitely an important thing to note that it is part of the conversation.
Isn't Queen of the Universe their singing competition?
No, it was Paramount Plus's, not World of Wonders, right?
Well, they have a second season coming. I saw that.
It came.
It's already out.
Oh.
It came. It went. They've already cleaned it up.
Okay.
And canceled the show.
I want to just, I hope I'm not jumping on anybody's point. I would hate to bomb your point, but I would love to talk about what I thought was the dumbest mini challenge that I really enjoyed. I just want to say, how come it's whenever Nina does anything, they're like, it doesn't actually count? I just want to know why, like, Nina didn't get to choose first this week. Like, what is this anti-Nina, anti-Angeria slander? First of all, anti-Angeria definitely sounds like something you would need Antonina to clean up.
Take your anti-Angeria medication twice weekly.
They heard that all Nina wants is money for the Trevor projects. They were like, "Here, honey," and then you're gonna get screwed, or not.
When she said, "I got some money for Trevor," I just wanted to be like, I'm building the story where Trevor's this guy with an OnlyFans that she's trying to help get back on his feet. I actually really thought this challenge was charming because it reminded me what I fell in love with about when I watched the first few seasons of Drag Race. I watched the show very out of order. Essentially, 5, 9, 6-ish through 14.
Well, 15.
Oh, 15 live. And then we went back and got 1 through 4. And watching 1 through 4, I think 1 through 4 are some of the best seasons of the show by far. I think those are some of the best queens, some of the most fun energy, some of the brightest stars. This challenge reminded me what I loved about those seasons. This was such a silly little mini challenge. It was pure fluff. Like, this was the stuff that Mareep's dreams are made of. But I genuinely had a good time with what was a very frivolous mini challenge.
Like most mini challenges, it was dumb, a non sequitur, had nothing to do with the main challenge, and that's okay, because I like seeing people act like cartoon characters.
Yes, I loved the camp of it.
Let them be silly.
Yes.
Let them do dumb things.
The young man has a point.
I also spent the entire time being like, I was going to pitch to my luggage company that we get a product placement on here, and now we can't.
Ma'am,
Never say never. Justin Bieber.
when I saw
Rule will
that,
never
I
say
was like,
no to more free stuff.
Tori definitely was going to have opinions. This is music. This is live performance. This is luggage.
Yeah.
I like that you
Luggage.
whispered it like this dirty secret.
They're
I was
not
gonna
just
be like-
fun bags, they're big bags too.
I was like,
Speaking of fun bags.
if something doesn't make any noise, is the ASMR of it just saying its name like a Pokemon?
Harambe.
Luggage.
Get
Luggage.
out! You're too old to say that.
Never. Never. Rest in peace.
So, TK, here's a question for you. This mini challenge was one that kind of only worked visually, and I know that sometimes, as somebody who has quite literally watched, and I'm not being facetious, like 400 episodes of this show. I think you've watched the most international seasons of us. You sometimes do, even when we're watching it with you, you're watching it as we're eating and or as you're cooking, and you'll shout from the other room, "Oh, is this where blah 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 is about to happen?" Because even if you've never seen it, you know what's happening. When something's this visual, this far in, does it still hold your attention?
No, it sure does not. No, it sure doesn't. No, I sure did not look at a lot of this, and I was like, I know I can look up and know exactly what the picture is going to be, and every single time I was correct. I'm torn between agreeing in that I like some silliness and I like some fun, and sometimes the main challenge gets a little too serious and it gets people too down, and it makes people doubt themselves and think they're not good enough when you're like, but it's literally just doing clown school. Don't cry about going to clown school.
You dirty old man.
But then there's these where I'm like, I wish they were equally low effort, but maybe a little more about some kind of skill other than silliness, and some kind of product that was takeawayable. But I mean, there's very few things that have ever come out of a mini challenge that have stayed. It's like Lil Pound Cake and Jonah, give me a second one. I don't even know if there is a second one. I think it's just Lil Pound Cake.
I would point out that Lucy LaDuca's win in mini challenges,
The idea of
would
Lucy
follow
LaDuca-
her through the entire season, and the fact that you do not. No, excuse me. No,
I mean,
Lux, excuse me. No,
It's counting mini challenges and Lil Pound Cake. Those are the only two things we've ever gotten notable.
also we got Jujubee to stick around for longer. That's about it.
Fair.
The only other thing I think in my mind is Candy Muse saying she wanted to buy a boat with $2,500, not $1,000, and I was like, hot dog math.
She meant a canoe.
This hasn't stayed in the same way, but it should have, because it's the funniest thing ever. Cynthia Fontaine, her landmark ruling legalizing sex.
Oh, wait,
I thought it was funny.
No. How do we forget season 10 Monet Exchange? Oh, I can do an Irish jig.
oh my god.
Yeah, I'm Irish.
Oh.
I got an Irish jug. Really
So I sometimes I wish it was just about everybody do a perfect lip. Everybody do a perfect lash. Let me see a perfect set of nails.
I would actually love to see which one of these
yeah.
girls is brilliant with Photoshop, because I promise you, at least one or two of them got
Jeremy.
good at their own Photoshop.
Well, yeah, I
Really?
mean that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
that's
Jeremy.
yes.
What
Jeremy
runs
is really
from
good with
clean?
Photoshop. Aquaria is really good with Photoshop. Rolling the old school computers,
For a second,
and
I was like, "Who's rolling to the computer?" I don't remember that. Queen.
Rolling
Every-
computer.
that is actually my drag name.
We have to be a
I just-
robot. Rolling the
I walk
computer.
in with
wore
a
tennis
Dell
shoes.
CRT monitor on my head,
and that's
and
my
I
drag
go,
name.
I'm
Adele
back
Speaks Monitor.
again. And then I fall over because the monitor is top heavy and I can't balance it on my shoulders.
I'm coming in as anti-monitor.
So yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of a mini challenge, of a smaller challenge, but I wish they were in some way about skills and not like either a stupid joke where like if they repeat it now I've already seen every photo bomb challenge they can do, or it's like a weird sex thing with the poor fucking pit crew, which grosses me out every time.
Okay, but George is going
There are so many ways we can make Georges say that, though.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways.
People think they know me because they see me on TV, and then I am out in the real world and they try to date me, and I'm like, no, that is not me. No, I am more than just this beautiful face. And I just want to be like, Georges, you are just.
This is her in Untalk.
In Untalk today, and I just want to be like, Mama, you are. I think the people are the problem, but I assume this really is you 24/7.
I think she's a little more laid back with the amount of blunts.
Well, she is always high.
Mama.
But yeah,
it's a crutch.
This was fine. It was, I chuckled every now and then, but I did not look up for most of it. And whenever I did, I was pretty much locked in on what was happening.
So, great mini challenge discussion, and it's worth about as much as one of Lucy LaDuca's wins. By the way, Tori, was that your first time hearing my Lucy LaDuca, the greatest queen of all time impression?
No, you mean my other favorite from that season?
My fucking favorite. Her and Sasha Colby are two of the finest queens to ever live.
Jonah, how many times did I text you? Why are they always so mad at Lucy?
Because beautiful women like us are talented.
She said one thing that everyone saw what she's conceded. Lucy's about herself.
Because Lux isn't?
How did Lux blow that? Like, Lux should have been my favorite on paper. How did she blow that? Anyway, I can't do this again.
But also, she doesn't need us.
No, she doesn't. She's so beautiful, so incredible, so talented.
She just needs all 39 inches of hair.
Yep.
My mom measured it. So, okay, I want to get to the main challenge this week because I loved and hated it. You know, there's this thing that happens where like a sitcom will wind up in a situation where they're like, Golden Girls, we need one of you to be mean and funny and tall. We need one of you to be mean, little, and make pasta. We need one of you to have venereal disease, and we need one of you to not be able to say her ABDs. And we need it to be the four of you pick a role. And it's just so obvious. And for the most part, this was harmless and really cute. But hey, sis. It's a hit miss. Let me cross this off of the others list. I swear to God, I would have paid an extraordinary amount of money for Gottmik to just rip that out from Chanel's bitch hands.
That would have been interesting. Yeah, seeing Gottmik's Christmas.
It should have been a white elephant where someone took one, you get to steal, but you can't steal more than twice.
That should have been Nina's secret power.
That or, I don't know, give her a badge.
Oh, and Nina gets, I am always in my bear era, and Nina gets cuter and cuter every single episode to me. I just think he's a very handsome, very sweet man. Nina, you didn't complain about having trouble getting a date, but girl, I've seen you have a streak. So you just call me, and you and me, we can stroll down that street together. No, I just think
you go to Columbus?
Oh my God. Well, if Drew Carey will meet me there. I just think that Nina is so... Oh, Kevo, great. Thank you. I just think that Nina is just underrated, and she's very sweet, and she's very cute. And I was just very glad that she got a mini challenge win and then absolutely slayed this challenge altogether.
I don't think there was a bad runway this week, which is doubly impressive because they all made them there in the workroom.
Absolutely.
I think most people, outside of maybe Roxxxy and Plastique, got a little bit of help. And Angeria got some help from some of the other queens. But also, like, who cares? If the other queens want to help them, let them help them make a good garment. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. You'll get into maybe making the whole thing for them in season 16, and that's a different conversation. Oh, God bless Vanjie.
My favorite episode for Vanjie, literally ever.
Don't. This isn't to blow smoke up Nina. I kind of thought she should have been in the top 2. I don't know who would replace her there, but I thought it was really good.
Yes,
Plastique's actually wasn't that good. Like it wasn't
it's
bad.
Just Plastique is that good. It's the problem.
Well, I don't actually even think that. I love Plastique. She is one of my top contenders. I would give everything in my life up to marry her. I just feel like there were a few noticeable pieces of this and details that looked a little bit costumey, a little bit homemade. The star embellishment up here just looked a little construction papery. Like, the concept is perfect, and I get that we grade on a curve for the fact that they're doing this really fast in the workroom and all that. But if we are judging everybody on the same rubric, some people just made looks that didn't end up allowing moments like this to reveal themselves. So I just would have put one of those people in the top because everybody did do a work. And so if everybody is like 92, 93, then the one girl who got a 94 is the winner because she got 1 point more. And I just thought this was a really solid 93. But I think like 2 or 3 other people that were not recognized actually had 94s on this. Roxxxy had a 98.
That was some Plastique math, but I'm really here.
Yeah, I'm trying to speak at her level and in her language, and you know.
I would say that if Mr. Moschino didn't call it his favorite look of the night, it probably would have been someone else plus Roxxxy. My money was on Chanel or Nina for going better than they'd done so far.
Yeah.
But the moment that he said that, I kind of felt like, which is why when Michelle was like, this was my favorite, I was like, oh dear, we're giving it to Plastique again. Which is fine. She looks great. It's an amazing outfit.
I think it's amazing. I hear what you're saying, but I also think the sheer amount of work that went into it for something that ended up turning out to being really good kind of does put you, in gymnastics, you grade on execution, but you also grade on difficulty.
Yes.
And it's why Simone Biles is the greatest of all time, because she literally does things that nobody else can even compete with her difficulty.
Except her sister. Sister
Louise.
Her sister.
Who kept winning immunity. God bless her. Shout out to you. But I do think, and I think they also do this in other reality fashion shows, where you will get graded on your execution, how well do you make the thing, but the simpler it is, the more perfect they expect it to be. So yes. I think when somebody takes on an underhanding of doing this very large train and doing a shape that is notorious for showing imperfection, because if it's not even, you can tell. Mm-hmm. And because everything looks symmetrical, even to scaled properly, I think that's where you kind of have to give someone a win for maybe not scoring as high in somebody else's execution, but her difficulty, I think, for what she chose to make was leagues above a couple of other outfits.
Yeah, she was taking the AP class version of this, for sure.
And, it's in that very vein that I feel one of the things that the show has led us to is places where people shine against type. And that's, I think, even what I was trying to address earlier in this episode, where I brought up my very controversial point. I mean, I basically blew it open. It's Judge Gate now. But I think because Nina is sometimes seen as a fashionable camp queen, but certainly not a fashion queen. She's not, the least fixable camp queen ever. But Nina is a little bit out there. So when she put something together that had this strike of eleganza lightning, we immediately saw it and thought, wow, what an incredible elevation of what we've often come to expect from Nina. And then you sort of, for me, contrast that with somebody like Chanel. This was just such a standard Chanel look. This was Chanel at her Chanelsiest. And I actually thought that deserved its own kind of award for having a benevolent, true spirit. The person who deserved no award for this episode except Best Vanjie was Vanjie. When Vanjie drops the voice, when she stops the scream, when she doesn't sound like a chainsaw, that's the one. Like I said, a chainsaw Siwa. it's so amazing what an actual person she is. We joke a lot about who could take over the show, who could do the show. I don't know that she could necessarily lead the franchise, but it would be a mistake not to include her in the judging, not to put her somewhere where what is truly one of the most kind personalities on screen, at least, because I don't know her personally. I'm not going to be too parasocial today, but I just really thought today was a day where you could see the real person when she had trouble saying the challenge, and she was like, to be the they them thy. Like, I just thought it was such an unbelievably human moment on a show that's all about the artificial, and that's the shit that wins RuPaul her Emmys.
I would really love Vanjie to be my GPS voice.
Yes.
Oh, make this turn, and then when you've made 4 wrong turns, she's like, hey, I really want you to know you should probably make this left. It's been a couple wrong turns. Baby, why are you making these choices? I want better for you. Hey! And like, I would feel comforted if my Google knew how to do that.
See, I want Vanjie to take over the weather from Jim, the weather guy with the arms.
I want him to take over
Chase
the weather.
some storms.
I want him to take over the weather for none other than Twin Peaks' David Lynch, who is the only reliable source of the weather.
And now the weather.
I told him to change their heart or die. So
Is that why Welcome to Night Vale says that?
yes, it's a
Okay.
reference
To
to
Twin Peaks,
Twin Peaks: The Return.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought this was a great episode because nobody seemed less talented than anybody else. It just seemed like there was a winner, though. Plastique versus Roxxxy. This is one of those situations where, like, on paper, you're like, oh, Sonic versus anyone. Oh, Sonic would win. And then you see it's Sonic versus Mario at the Olympics. And you're like, well, maybe. And then they're like, it's the Italian Plumber Olympics. And you go, oh, sorry, Sonic.
I do. Yes, our top 2 this week, Plastique and Roxxxy. I think deserved. Honestly, you probably really could have put a handful of people. I thought everybody really just did that well this episode.
It's true.
That this was, and again, pretty astounding that a lot of these queens turning out these amazing looks for things that they made there, which is they don't give them a lot of time and not a lot of fabric, as Angeria was running out. But I do think, again, Roxxxy, for execution, but also just the sheer volume of what she made. She made a jumpsuit with chaps, and she made a jacket. I thought she made like 3 things. I could be wrong on that specific part, but
she had the jumpsuit, she had the jacket, and then she had the bandana piece.
Oh yeah,
which that to me, that's actually the best piece. That's actually
Little
the
Donna
best
Martin
part.
fashionista over here, knowing every single thing she wore.
But like,
Well,
this is
I was
incredible.
taken aback by it. I really did think it was good.
It is very cowboy Carter Andrews.
It's
and-
actually,
You know,
because
the hand stoning. She's
mean,
committed, man.
I mean,
do
she
think-
might need to be committed after that.
She might.
stoning.
Yeah, she.
Okay, George is his hand stoned and nobody ever claps.
She's mouth stoned.
Yeah.
I did.
If she's been up here, she might have gotten one of those suppositories they're selling.
What is it? It's a coffee enema.
Is there an anal option?
I feel like I want to bring those to the queens. I feel like somebody would really enjoy them. A clip has been going around my feeds lately, just reminding me of how insanely Jasmine Kennedy slayed Hallucinate versus Jimbo. And it just like, there is no song that is possibly better for Jasmine Kennedy and worse for Jimbo. And just like, I mean, it's such a cunty song. Jasmine is so cunt. It was just so perfect. And this was kind of
100%
that.
Estrogen-based life form.
Yeah, like this was really, Roxxxy was so ready to do a disco track in every way. She's older. This is not a surprise to her. She's not so old that she actually, like, during her
Remembers
season.
this.
I was gonna say she's not during her season. She was not a disco queen, but you can see that in the ensuing years, she became one of those girls who's like, I'm never gonna not know the references. I'm never not gonna know like the things that older queens know and the things that RuPaul loves.
No, but I'm serious. When you're that close to AARP, you finna not say finna. That is one of those things that
you do graduate to a different level, and she brought it entirely. And Plastique was so ready to do Hallucinate by Dua Lipa, and this just isn't that song at all. She did such a great performance.
She did good considering.
Yeah. It just she didn't vibe with the song. She's not old enough to know the full disco experience. Like,
but it looked like she knew the words, which is new
she
for
definitely
her.
did know the words, which was for her an improvement compared to other weeks.
Listen, once that nail file came out, it was,
it was
exactly.
It was over.
and they love a
well,
prop.
and just like it was. Roxxxy had full face dance. Like she had expressions that were perfect for the song, and she had like 8 of them. And I mean, come on, like she was just ready to go. And Plastique was fantastic, but just didn't have this.
Plastique, c'est chic, but Roxy freaked out. And that was definitely the difference.
I would have loved to have seen them also do a song, like a pop song, like a Dua Lipa song, like any, something that.
Catch me.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a lip-sync song, I guarantee you. Next
Well,
week.
in season 18, because of the filming schedule.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say they kind of missed their opportunity on that one, but like, Houdini is actually a perfect example of a song that I feel like Plastique would have won.
But so this brings up an important point that was brought up in this episode by tonight's most glorious runner-up, that Roxy has yet to lose a lip sync, and we're
ever is the
ever.
word you're looking for.
That's the one.
She won her lip sync on season 5. She won her first her lip sync against Tatiana in All Stars 2. She won her lip sync assassin against Miss Cracker. And the 3 lip syncs she's performed in this season, she's won all 3.
The thing that makes Roxy is, once again, in my opinion, ineligible for competition. That we're not just putting her in some, like, I don't want to start saying we need to start doing like a Houses edition where it's, 6 episodes with the Miami Queens and the winner gets to go to RuPaul's Drag Race and can't be eliminated the first 2 weeks. Qualifiers. I don't want it to be qualified. Look, Tournament of Champions has taught me a lot of things. I don't want it to be qualifiers, but if you don't put Vanjie and Roxy, and I'm going to say it, I'll be that brave, Lucy LaDuca on some sort of like going around the country and helping these younger queens. And then I'm not saying that anybody who doesn't win doesn't get noticed, but like, if more WoW shows had more tournament style play, look, gays love drag queens, but gays really love pointing at losers. So like, I really feel like not utilizing Roxy as a judge, because I don't think she's a host. I think Vanjie's a host. I don't think Lucy's
a girl on the street.
What does she have a host for?
I do believe we usually refer to it as patient 0.
That's real. Oh, good RuPaul Rose, you're patient -1.
Because she's old.
Someone use that. Yeah.
She specifically said new friends silver, old friends gold, and I would love to know what she accidentally says it as all the time, that somebody elocuted her real slow to get it right. So, okay, that brings me through most of the episode, but now I have some silly, dumb Drag Race questions that I love to ask.
Do you want to talk about the snip?
Do I care about the snip? I don't. And can I tell you why I don't care about this snip?
Because Angeria is going to the finale?
Because Angeria is going to the finale. Because this felt to me like almost they kind of agreed that it's funny. And maybe somebody even said, and it's probably Gottmik, because Gottmik has probably known all of the answers this entire time. And the reason Gottmik isn't the star of a sci-fi franchise is because it would unravel too quickly. But Gottmik probably at one point was like, you guys, I think it doesn't matter who gets snipped because we're all gorge and there's going to be some bad shenanigans. And I think they all were just like, okay, cool, let's just cut Angeria. And Angeria was like, that's fine.
I love that this for the other 20 that they took 50 years to snip someone, that this one was over in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Roxxxy knew exactly what she wanted, and Angeria knew exactly what was going to happen.
Well, and they're both fine.
Oh, yeah, they're both fine.
It's I'm glad this is the note we went out on because I have not enjoyed the snipping process this time around. Weird mix of too low stakes, not enough fighting, but also too much fighting over the wrong things. And to go out on this note, which was a little bit like, this is the only funny, like, potential inside joke about the snipping. They're both in a really good place. This is not going to be a debate next week. They're just going to laugh about it, and now we're done.
This was just trading who played Moyle week after week. It was just, you do the snip, no, I'll do the snip.
But it is fascinating in that half the cast did not get snipped. Plastique, Chanel, Nina, and Vanjie were not snipped, which I thought everybody would get snipped. I thought we were snipping all the way through the end, and I thought everyone was going to get snipped once. I thought everyone was going to win a challenge once. Apparently, I'm being proven wrong because they just, I don't know, are edging Chanel at this point. So I guess we're complicit.
You thought this would be a girl snip trip?
Kind of. I didn't realize. I guess it's a reversible vasectomy. I don't know. All of vasectomies are reversible.
Well, the ones that are done right. I mean,
but I do agree. I think this was one of the best notes, even though I look at All Stars 7, and I can talk about it fully because I know Tori's caught up. And by the time like the sixth person was snipped, like the blocking, I was like effective at blocking 3 badges. I think like 4 successful blocks happened that season, which it feels like statistically that's how it should have gone.
Yep.
It feels statistically kind of overwhelming if you think about 1 in 8. I don't know. I think we've reached a level because then that's it. That's the weird post. That's the weird post chat. You're a genius.
But yeah, no, they've said before that, like, it seems to be every single time they're like, are you glad you snipped them? And everyone's like, yeah, it's a design challenge. Yeah, it's a comedy challenge. Yeah, it's this. Like, if they're so good at it, they should have probably won anyway.
What if they were given... no, Tori, now you're a double genius, so we're going to do yours, and then we're going to go to this. This is the extra value meal. McNuggets, fries. So... what if the winner was secretly told next week's challenge? And then they got to make the snipcision. Desniption. What if then they got to make the desniption? It would have changed everything.
The plunger always has secrets.
That's my favorite thing. I love the plunger. It was so stupid.
So
I wanted it has nothing to it, Raja. Sorry about it.
One of my favorite things of all time. Raja is one of the greatest things that I've heard. Raja and Raven have never done a bad thing in their lives except some color filter decisions.
Hold on.
Well.
So okay. I want to ask some kind of odd questions about some decisions that we kind of see happen on the back end. How do you guys feel about situations where queens wind up in like that amazing situation with half the blocks going through, half the blocks being right? There are some queens that when they win a challenge, I'm kind of like, they gave you that win either production wise or because it's surprising. I would never expect Jinx to lose a challenge on Drag Race because it sort of seems like Jinx made some kind of deal with some kind of drag demon to always be in a position to win against RuPaul's wishes, right? So Jinx is off the table. But I don't necessarily think of Aquaria as funny. So as you pointed out earlier, a roast might have been tough for Aquaria, or an outright comedy challenge might have been tough for Aquaria. but that would have been interesting. Something that this season has really played to, in my opinion, with the exception of propping up George's for the most average roast performance of all time. It was basically a Kenny Rogers roaster. Calm down.
Let's get this roaster cooking.
Fuck. I think all of the wins went to some expected places this season. Has anybody ever had a damn kind of moment? Like, other than, of course, Jen not winning the Rusical.
I mean, I think that Snatch Game usually gives the comedy queens, it's only like a 50-50 shot that the comedy queen is going to win. Because it is very often a surprise turn by someone doing quite well as opposed to a season queen killing it. But I'm probably about to be proven wrong. But
are you done with 15?
I am done with 15.
Okay, so then terrific. We can make this reference. In this family, in this house, just how unbelievably unfunny Sasha Colby was at that comedy.
I literally said to Jonah, I was like, they pushed up when they did Snatch Game because they became vaguely aware that a lot of their faves are not funny. And you can hide them in a 14-person double Snatch Game better than even a 10-person Snatch Game.
Are you, Tori, have you had anything to smoke today? Are you California sober like Demi Lovato?
It was bad. That whole thing was bad. It was all of it. Everyone was terrible.
Here's what gets me. Sasha Colby is like legitimately a funny human.
Sure.
Like,
so am I. Don't put me on stage.
No, girl, I think you would do a better job than that Demi Lovato California sober shit.
Fair. I killed it at bingo this week at work.
Mama, you killed it in the audience at my drag show. Like, damn, like, calm down. PK, you have watched so much of this, and I know you've watched Jimbo's rise from the ranks of Canada to Versus the World to All Stars, where Kevo, did you... Oh, okay. It's this Snatch Game. I was like, did you literally go to Jimbo's Snatch Game? Oh, hey, there's my husband, David.
I don't know where it is.
Man, I would go on a date with either one of those wonderful gentlemen.
And you will.
Oh, God bless. PK, were there any people that fit any of the multiple criterion I have laid out for you to react to?
Remind me of the criteria.
Have you been surprised by any wins this season? Or have there been any sort of like overwhelming patterns where you're like, no, I need to be like, yikes, this whole season they realized there was no one funny, as Tori pointed out. So they were like, let's rush past all the comedy real fast.
I have been surprised that the wins have not been a little more dispersed. There's been no win where I've been shocked that somebody has won and felt like they just absolutely didn't deserve it. I think the roast was so odd. There's just no way they all wrote those jokes. We're confident Gottmik didn't write hers. But I'm not sure if they were prepped ahead of time and were able to get help before coming onto the show, or if production helped during the show. But they did not write those jokes, and everybody didn't, so it's fine. It was also nobody's voice. So that's like one example where I was like, I can't believe we're just doing this. But
I just remembered Property Queens and how well Chanel and Nina did to not even crack that.
Yeah, like there's things like that, like where I've been surprised that people haven't won, but I haven't really been surprised that people have. I do think Property Queens was a good time to give Chanel a win. And it's always awkward when you get to a place where a queen who is not doing poorly has not won at all, And you look at some queen, like honestly, Roxy having this many wins, I think is a bit too many. Might be one too many.
Well, she's won 3 challenges, but she was given an extra badge by Nina.
Right.
Who was supposed to give it to Chanel, and I'm shocked that plot point hasn't reared its ugly head yet.
Well,
Right.
Here's what I'm worried is going to happen. Rue is going to come out in the penultimate episode and say, "No, we're awarding badges based on the number of years since your first season. So, Chanel, you get 34. I'm afraid it's going to be some untestable metric." Because Chanel is getting horse kicked right now, and it's awkward to watch because we don't think Chanel is untalented. We don't think Chanel is unspecial, and clearly neither do they.
And clearly she's beautiful, inside and out.
She is.
And world renowned.
Billy had to listen to it. So was it Billy or Santino?
Santino.
Oh my God, it was a Santino week. God, the indignation.
Can I answer a question you were... answer what you're talking about,
please?
So season 10, season 12, season 13, as well as this season, have done this thing where they've made the fashion girl who wins the ball, oops, can she be funny, and then they win Snatch Game. It is one of those things where now I have to keep an eye out of like, okay, did you win the ball? Okay, well, let's see what you do for Snatch Game. Though I've noticed people who've won the ball tend to either win Snatch Game or they flop, and I love that.
There's no in between.
There is no in between.
Swing big.
There's no being safe. For this season, for my money, I think Plastique and Georgia could have won the makeover challenge, but I don't disagree with the Roxxxy Vanjie win, if that makes sense. But there are, everybody has an opinion, and I think for the most part, outside of like very few circumstances, there's really ever been, oh, this one singular person is the only viable winner. I think the top 3, usually any one of those top 3 could probably win. I also just remind myself, it's an edited TV show. There are times when they do these acting challenges, and someone's in the top, and I'm like, you showed them saying 2 lines. You need to give me a little bit more than that.
Well, not everybody can be Latrice.
Get those nuts away from my face. I mean, I look orange right now, so.
One of the things that I so love about this season's format is every week the girls shout, "Top 8!" And one of the reasons that is so cute is because, number one, that is one of the only times most of these girls will get to call themselves tops. But the other thing that it gives us is a chance to sort of talk about the real what is trenches camaraderie. Like in the actual trenches, like in an actual battle where you are united together, you're not united together till it's time to pick each other off, which is what a reality competition kind of always is. These girls are actually united in the trenches. And something that I have so enjoyed is getting to see who these girls are without the stress of competition, where they will go home. Of course, fighting for lives, for trans lives, for Black lives, for queer lives, for Asian lives, for the lives of everybody affected by anxiety and depression, and for Vanjie, trying to save all of the people that make her beautiful clothes. I think it is definitely wonderful that they are competing so aggressively to protect the people they love. But they are very different people this season. There is an unguardedness, there is a kindness, there is a benevolence that can only be born of not being afraid that somebody is going to land on you and send you back to home. Sorry. So I feel as though without the Milton Bradley effect, the genuine inclusiveness of gameplay is bringing out things in people I never thought I'd see. Seeing the kindness in who Miss Vanjie truly is, that's exciting. Seeing Angeria know her talent because she's not afraid if her talent is off this week, she's going home, is incredible. Gottmik is the least different. Gottmik is only aged wiser. But I just think this is such a celebration of why we love these people and not just these performers. And I'm grateful to the format for that. Maybe in a usual season you couldn't do it, but that's why there's 8 and not 14, and we don't have anybody forgetting the words their first week and going, ah, damn. It's a versus the world reference. Anyway.
Okay. I'll get there. This new Canada versus the world announcement has me listing out who I didn't. I have more seasons to get through.
You are going to meet the world's greatest rapstress.
I mean,
I know
she wasn't in the top for her.
For anything.
Do we think that they're going to stick with this kind of no eliminations for All Stars moving forward?
If you want their agents to sign off on it.
Stay special.
I don't know. The overall reception of the season has just been mixed, it seems like. I also think people are curmudgeons. They just don't like fun. Because I think this season's just kind of fun, and I think...
They want violence.
Listen to the youth. They are the future.
I will say, I would love... Well, I kind of would love if, a girl got, like, punched or something. I want an actual fist fight. I think it'd be funny.
Nina could punch a hole in
cut the
Georgia.
cameras because then
wouldn't.
they'd get sued for not stopping it, blah, blah, blah.
No. Have it be like, have like a housewife or like producer, like security has to like run in and like pull them back. That's what I want. But
Countess Luann is down.
But
Countess Luann. How is that not a drag name?
Probably is.
I'm a
Probably
monster. I'm a goblin. Don't listen to me. Just a fighting Mama. Where was I? But I think if they want to do the non-elimination, they want to do something like this. They're never going to because they won't lose out on the money. But I do think if they waited like 3 or 4 years for an All-Star season,
wouldn't it be nice?
I think it would give a chance for the bigger name, the queens that like, I don't want to say bigger name. I want to rephrase that as queens that you see a lot on people's wish lists to come back, who have the, the oeuvre, who have that full catching power. Because I think everybody here has pulling power, but I think there are some. It's an objective fact that some queens are more popular than others. That is just how things go. I do think you probably could get some really heavy hitters and who performed well in their season for an amazing All-Stars that kind of feels like an all-winner, similar to how All-Stars 2 felt, if they waited another 5 years.
So are you
Maybe
saying...
then they'll get Tyra.
So you're not saying wait every 5 years to have an All-Stars. You're saying you got to have finished your season and then 5 years later you get to do All-Stars.
No, I'm saying the former.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they've overmined the well.
I
I
agree.
think maybe next season should be All Stars Comedy Queens. The season after should be All Stars Ball Challenge, then All Stars Fashion, and then with All Stars 11, no, 12, 13, I don't care. Unlucky 13, whatever, do a goth season. All Stars 14, you kick it back off with like All Stars.
All Stars 13 is all the pork chops. All of them.
Oh, all
Victoria's
the
in charge.
We've suggested that.
I do think there should be also all pork chops, queen of all pork chops.
I would love a genuine one queen from, and not even in terms of global all stars, which may or may not exist. It is at this point like the third gunman, really. But I would love a one queen from every franchise, Olympic style, really incredible big take on the idea. We've done double part premieres. Why can't we do 4-part premieres? I know that sounds like a lot, but then do a team challenge and a whole team is eliminated. Sucks, but that's how life goes. Sorry about it. It's a competition. It's not reality. And
they're only in like 12 countries, aren't they?
You know what? I would not be surprised if for the frackin' insurance write-off that they were in some like slightly made up countries.
Belgique is not real.
Where does Enchanted take place?
Andalusia.
Nova
Andalasia.
Scotia.
Also, Drag Race and Valania is
Meldonia from Princess and the
5,
Frog.
Genovia
6,
from the Princess Diaries.
9,
There's-
10, 11,
Genovia. Hail, hail,
there's an
Genovia.
entire drag race full of shrimp
16.
for some reason.
6. Ooh, we have a sweet 16 of countries, everyone. We can do a real bracket.
And
Well,
a drag race
real-
with no shrimping.
Mhm.
We can literally do the Olympics, the drag Olympics, where a representative from each country comes.
All right, then TK, if you're willing, let's sit down. You, me, Tori, Jojo, Kevo, you will just have to figure out how to go through all the images. But let's brack out these countries. Let's do some beautiful international work.
Also,
Wait, we could
I
set up a
had a
little
thought.
teams.
For the all pork chop season, wouldn't the first person sent home be the queen of all pork chops?
I also want to point out, if we do a bracket of all countries, I think the mascot should be Brack. Space Ghost Coast to Coast was my favorite
Oh,
show
yeah.
as a child, and I thought Brack was the second funniest character in the world after Zorak. Wow, I think my true drag king persona really is just basically Space Ghost with his dick out. Let's stop it before the show goes deeply off the rails. This ain't no monorail in 2014. So let's zero in on the big takeaway from this episode. No more snips. Everybody gets to win. Oh, no more snips. I'm going to miss Rosario Dawson. So,
Are you seeing her next week with her baby shower?
until we
Cory
come
Booker's
back.
going to be a dad?
Oh my God, New Jersey is gonna matter
Someone
politically.
Cory Bookham.
That is my new favorite drag name, Cory Bookham. Okay, wow, that turned into the end of a drag brunch. I'm so glad we were able to bring that to you guys. The only thing missing was the food truck. Tori, my question for you is, living or dead, all-star or non-all-star, what queen would you love to see perform in the next all-star season?
Why are you asking? Why
Well,
don't you
and-
know?
Well, and
Who
where can
do
everybody
you
find
know?
you?
Okay, well, you
Oh,
can find me
yeah.
on the internet at smtori. At smtori. That's Tori with an I. The real answer is it's Bianca Del Rio, but she'll never do it because she's better than all of you.
Listen, this is my favorite internet personality in the entire universe. Tori Sheehan is my favorite internet personality. Just can't get enough of her.
Why would you ask? You know, I was like, something is wrong with the way this question is going.
Listen, I know the answer, but you still give a beautiful woman a chance to speak for herself. And that's why we asked Bianca to come on and say that she's your favorite.
And here she is.
Oh my God!
Ah!
I
We're gonna make you-
all the time.
No,
We're gonna
No,
make you
no.
Kristen Bell
no, no,
over Bianca.
no. That's
I
where
live
my
in New York.
parasocial
I have no
needs
problems.
end.
Baloney!
I prefer a purely fantastical life. Thank you.
So,
I
no
wanted a
Tori
picture
social
of Bianca.
I just wanted a picture.
life. You can't disappoint a picture.
True.
Jojo, name, digital address, and the queen you would most like to see perform in an All Stars.
Name, Jonah. Digital address, at Peak Jonah. Queen I want to come back, Bosco. Bosco is my favorite queen. Bring her back, please.
Bosco.
I'm begging her to come get a crown because she honestly deserves one.
I love that. Legitimate answer. Kevo, you are right beneath me, but nothing is beneath you. I'm kidding.
I am the wind beneath your wings.
You are so many things, not just to me, but to this show. You make all of us look so good, look so smart, look like we're always referencing something legitimate. Where can everybody find you, and what queen would you love to see come back?
You can find me at Kevo Really. That's KEVOREALLY. And you know, I guess I'm going to say Anitra. I
Yes.
just heard
Answer.
she was great, and we're gonna see Sasha Colby again in some capacity. Obviously, she's a winner, baby. So if I'm gonna pick someone, it's gonna be from my favorite season, my first real season. It's gonna be Anitra. Teak, what about you? Where can the folks find you, and who's your pick?
You can find me at TK Elemental. Kimchi. I want to see some Kimchi. I love her very much. She's such an incredible artist. She's really mean and funny, and she was a little shy her season. She didn't get to let that shine through.
You're really pretty when your eyebrows are even.
And I just want to see her bully a bunch of queens. So, Nico, last man standing. Who are you? Where are you? Why are you? And who do you want to see return?
Well, number one, I would just like to say that this might be one of our final broadcasts in the year of our Lord Chappelle Roan. Chapel. I can't she's incredible.
Praying at the Chapel Roan.
I just learned that that's not Jan's song.
Tori messaged me. Be like, oh, it's great that people know this new song by Jan Pink Pony Club. Oh wow. It's not her song.
So,
I was really proud of her for having a good song.
I just want to say that in the year of our Lord broadcast, Jan's song 2024, that it is so special to get to wear my Mets Pride Night Pride hat. Thank you to the Mets for not just making these beautiful hats, but to supplying them to so many Pride events throughout the year so that everybody can show their pride. It is so exciting to get to be a part of a show that talks about not just queer culture, but drag culture, trans culture, and so much more. It is so important to always remember this time of year round. And of course, this show is only half done with its Pride celebration because next month is Pride in the UK. And if you think we're going to slow down just because we're based in the US of A, you have missed out on the point of being proud, baby. So only half done, ready to do a whole lot more. As for me alone, if I could see any one queen come back, I do believe that it would be the only Lucy LaDuca, who I just want to remind all of you that in the first weeks I was watching the show, I referred to her as Lucy DeLuca, and I want her to fulfill all of my Italian mommy fantasies. But no, it's fine. Anyway.
Got that drag DeLuca.
I got that drag DeLuca. You can check me out at Nico Action. That's NICOACTION. If you like the songs you've been hearing, you can check out my amazing instrumental drag mixes as well as a number of my super cool covers over at Nico Action Music. That's NICOACTMUS. NICOACTIONMUS. I see. Yikes. Spelling is hard, you guys. That's why I make music.
Okay, Gwen Stefani.
Yo, whoa, hold on. She got my amazing pink chola hair, man. What?
No, that's on the oldie station now, by the way.
Oh, God.
Mega bummer, man.
What a bummer. I just realized that I am the equivalent of my parents doing Perry Como impressions. I gotta die. Anyway, you can check this show out at X's for Show and our going strong, back stronger than ever. So proud of what we're doing over on it. Podcast for our comic coverage at X's for Podcast. You can check out some incredible stuff there featuring everybody on this screen and more, like our amazing guest correspondent, Jake. It has been such a pleasure bringing that back to you guys. We're going to be back on Sunday talking about Celine Dion. And until then, 3 things you can do for you, 3 things you can do for us. The us ones, real quick, like, comment, and subscribe. Nothing better than hearing from you guys. You are so fascinating and so incredible. And that leads me to what you guys could do for you. Number 1, do us a favor. Please stay safe. It's a crazy world out there, and we do not want to see anybody have any troubled times. But if you can manage it, we would love it if you would be brave, because you're incredible. And number 3, if you could just remember to evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, amazing. Who you are today, we love it. But who you are tomorrow, that's the dream. And we can't wait to see you then. So until then, stay strong, and we'll see you.